Hi, welcome to the Hodl Boomer podcast. If you're a hodler, you've done the homework. You hodl. You know sound money is honest money. But there's that one person that you love who just can't believe the government would lie to them. Today, let's talk about how you get through to these people. There's a three-phase approach that I want to recommend that you use to help loved ones or very close friends see what you see. This is the problem. Every single seeker has been faced. In fact, some of us have been that individual that's been very hard to get through. That was me. My brother worked on me for a long while. I was proud, and I just couldn't believe he had this knowledge that I didn't have. Finally, I did come through. I did understand Bitcoin. I did put some of my assets in Bitcoin. And I'll tell you the rest later. I want to welcome you today. I want to frame this episode about how we've all been there, the polite smiles, the gentle dismissals, saying things like I said to my brother, you just don't get it. Now, boomers, people my age, who are awake, have lived through the transformation. Sound money to fiat dollars. This episode is about meeting people where they are, not overwhelming them. Now, before we dive into it, I'd like to just mention our website real quickly, hodlandtees.org. Check it out. Promo code is welcome10. That'll give you 10% off of anything you wish to purchase there to help you talk to people about their Bitcoin journey. Lots of things, caps and t-shirts and things there. That's enough of that. So when talking to non-coiners or non-Bitcoiners about Bitcoin, and I'm specific, I'm saying about Bitcoin. This is not about any other coin. They're not worth anything. This is just about Bitcoin. The temptation is to info dump. I've learned so much about Bitcoin and so much about money and so much about history. We recently on this podcast went through a summary of the creature from Jekyll Island, and I think that was very heavy lifting for quite a few of you. We've also learned things about coin clipping in ancient Rome, the whole stack. I mean, there are lots and lots of things about money corruption that we could use to convince people that there's a problem. But it's kind of a mistake to do that. It's like talking to a brand new Christian and taking them right to Revelation. That's not the good way. The better way is to start small, start with the Gospels, build a foundation, let them see it work over time. Now talking about Bitcoin. The goal is not 100% buy-in. The goal is a few sats, patience, self-custody down the road. So let's get into the problem. That's really the title of the first video I'm going to recommend. It's called The Problem. I'm a boomer. I'm automatically seen as too old to understand how wrong people are. Awake boomers, people like me, people who are invested, and I shouldn't say invested because that implicates a fiat return. People who are involved in Bitcoin are aware of living through a transformation of sound money to fiat money and debasement. We remember when things in the world worked differently. We need to resist the temptation to overwhelm. Yeah, the corruption goes all the way back to ancient Rome and coin clipping, which I talked about. Yes, the creature from Jekyll Island is extremely well researched, extremely valuable, but don't lead with that. The new Christians don't start with Revelation. They get frustrated with the people they're trying to educate, and the people that are being educated get frustrated too, and they walk away, and that's a shame. The same principle here. You need to start with the basics. So let me introduce the three-phased approach before I ramble on forever. Phase one, we'll talk about money. What is it? What is money? Phase two, we'll talk about the current conditions. Is money working? And then phase three, we'll introduce those videos that I mentioned. The goal is not full conviction. It's just a small stack of sats, the building block of Bitcoin, and time to watch it work. This is a patient, loving process. Just a word, if you're talking to people about Bitcoin and you're not invested in them, you don't love them, they're probably going to notice that. You will not come off as an honest broker. You'll come off as someone trying to change the world. You're not really trying to change the world right away. You're trying to change the heart of the person that you're talking to. And obviously, if enough of us have change of heart, the world will change. So let's dig into the phases. Phase one, what is money? Well, money is a medium of exchange. It bridges buyers and sellers. There's no need to barter anymore. In ancient times, it was, hey, I've got 10 bushels of corn. I'll trade you for whatever, 10 bushels of peas. So there was an interest on both sides in exchanging value, but there was no medium of exchange by which to cause the value to transfer one to another. The second piece of money historically, it's been a unit of account. It's been a common measure to price goods and evaluate worth. They knew what their corn was worth on this unit of account. They knew what the beans were worth on this unit of account, and they simply exchanged the unit of account to transfer the product one to the other. Finally, money can be a store of value. It can be saved, retrieved, exchanged in the future without rapidly losing purchasing power. Of course, right now, the US dollar is rapidly losing purchasing power, so it's not a great thing. There's three different types of money. The first is commodity, like gold, salt, beaver pelts, whatever you want it to be. It's something that you held as a commodity and you saw value in. Someone else might see value in it and be willing to exchange for it. The second type of money is fiat. It's basically by government decree. That's what fiat means. It doesn't have any intrinsic value. None. It has value because the fiat entity putting the money forward says that it's worth something. Right now in the US, and I'm not sure everybody gets this, there is no gold behind the currency. That ended. That ended with Nixon. There's nothing behind our currency. Nothing. The next type is representative. It has a claim on a physical commodity, like old gold certificates or old silver certificates. You can't exchange them for silver anymore, but it was to represent the asset that was held in a vault. So a representative claim is really just a certificate that you have the value that you say you have held somewhere off-site. Why did this come about? Well, it's awful hard to carry gold bricks around. They're heavy, and no one has measures, and no one has the ability to evaluate the gold on site in order to exchange it. So it became common to represent the gold with something else. These are simple and plain definitions, but they are held true over time. These are foundational. So with that understanding of money, You need to ask your friend or your family member, is it working for you? Do you have enough money or are you barely getting by? To be candid, that's by design, unless you're extraordinarily wealthy. And in that case, you're probably not watching this, and this doesn't really apply to you because you think you have enough fiat dollars stacked up. Let's take the house you grew up in, for example. Did it gain value or did the dollar lose value? Let's say you paid, or your parents paid probably, um, in my case, $38,000 for a house I was in high school. Now I realize that's a while ago and values have changed. But the fact of the matter is that values have continued to change. Is the house worth more? Really? Why is the house worth more? Do families get more life out of it? No, not really. It seems that it serves the same utility purpose. Or did the dollar lose value? Do you have to stack up more dollars to receive the same intrinsic value of the house? That's really the case. Let me tell you a story. When I was a kid, I was very much into automobiles, cars, and at 16, 17 years old, I got a job at a Fiat, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo dealership. That was a cool job. I was basically a wash boy, but I was a glorified dealer prep mechanic. And as that wash boy, I got to wear the uniform, a white collared, button down mechanic's shirt with the Ferrari logo on it. That thing was great. I wore it to school, for heaven's sake. Anyway, one day we got this new car in that a lot of people were commenting on, Googling over, and it was a yellow Ferrari Daytona. To this day, I think it's one of the most beautiful cars ever built. And this thing was used, and the salesman who brought it in told us the price. It was $32,000. Now, mind you, it's a while ago because I was 16, 17, and I'm not that anymore. But it's certainly within my lifetime. What's that Ferrari worth today? It's a lot older, doesn't run very well, isn't very fast by today's standards, but it's beautiful. Today, the collector value of that car, not in pristine condition, is well over $1 million. What does that mean about money? Yeah, there's inflation on collector products, and I'll grant you that. But the dollars are worth so much less. How do you go from $32,000 to over $1 million? It's only through inflation that you can get that kind of increase in value. So the money's not working. You don't have to be in the market for a yellow Ferrari Daytona to be able to tell that. You can tell that when you go to the grocery store and you spend X amount more, or your housing, your apartment, for heaven's sakes. A basic apartment where I live costs $1,800 to $2,300 a month. They say inflation is 2%, but how much are you paying for gas? How much are you paying for living expenses? You know it's way more than 2%. Is inflation worthy? Is it a good thing? Absolutely not. Inflation is organized theft. It's stealing from you. The dollar devaluation has a lot to do with it. I digress. I'm getting a little too detailed. Here's what I'd like for you to do with your person that you're speaking to in regards to phase 3 of the videos. They will help you study what will become the new reserve asset, and it'll be done in a question and answer kind of format. Built for seekers, built for people wanting to know more about Bitcoin. So you're going to invest a couple, maybe 2.5 hours into this video, both of these videos combined. The first one really discusses the hidden secrets of money. It's called What's the Problem? It's animated. It's a cartoon, and it's really easy to watch. And the gentleman, I recommend that you look at his credentials on the credits when you begin to roll this video. This guy is well studied, and he really answers the question, what's the problem? It's a terrific video. It's about 30 minutes. The second one I'm going to recommend is called God Bless Bitcoin. And this one is hosted by Natalie Brunell. I don't know if you know Natalie, but she was in broadcast media for a while, is very well spoken, and has assembled a number of people to talk about Bitcoin in this video. I'm not going to spoil the punchline for you, but these are really, really good videos. The Natalie Brunell video, the God Bless Bitcoin, this is the video that really caused me to want to dig in deep and understand what Bitcoin was all about. I think my brother is thrilled that I watched this video. So let me give you a word of admonishment. Don't let the person you're talking to skip this step. Before they would consider purchasing any Bitcoin, have them watch these videos. Don't skip the step. It gives you a foundation of Bitcoin. It's not going to make you a Bitcoin expert, but it will open your mind up a little bit and cause you to want to learn more. So this is the big mindset shift that hopefully will occur. The person you're speaking to should understand you don't invest in Bitcoin to make a return in dollars. That's dumb. You participate in Bitcoin because you know it to be the new base layer in the coming economic world. We're at a very unique point in history. Never has happened in the history of man. There's only 21 million Bitcoin ever. 20 million have been mined, very few are left. Scarcity is right on the horizon. Now, I can walk you through the technical science behind Bitcoin, and I hope you'll eventually put in the 100 hours that's required to minimally understand Bitcoin. But if for now you watch the videos, or your person you're talking to watch the videos and they kind of get it, it's time to ask them to start small and emphasize that this is about stewardship. It's not about speculation. There are plenty of people on YouTube and elsewhere, X, that will talk about the price of Bitcoin in fiat dollars, in US dollars. And I get it, it's a reference point, but I think they do people a disservice, because if you value Bitcoin in dollars, you're actually depending on a depreciating asset in order to value what you have. So you need to kind of work on your mindset there. So the first steps, go to an exchange. Once they've watched the videos, an exchange is a place like River or Coinbase. Buy a few sats. And I'm going to break my rule. Of course, I believe in self-custody, owning your own Bitcoin on your own server. That's really the only way to do it. But while these people are beginning to get involved in Bitcoin, it's okay to leave it on an exchange. When you get them to buy some Bitcoin, get them to save it for 4 years. In other words, money they don't need, no matter how much it is, $20. Have them save it 4 years. That's kind of one full Bitcoin cycle. We'll talk about self-custody sometime in that 4 years when they're convinced. Now, I want to emphasize this. This is not a get-rich-quick play. This is preserving value across time. It needs to be actionable. It needs to be small. It needs to be specific. And you need to be very patient with these folks. They'll benefit from it. You'll benefit from it. So what strikes me about this episode or this discussion, the patience that's required to love someone into understanding Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to embarrass my brother for a minute. He's been in Bitcoin a long time, and he's just tired. of trying to convince people to understand it. He's beating his head against the wall. And I'm sure some of you hodlers feel the same way. If they're not going to buy it, they're not going to buy it. But if they know you love them and you're speaking to them from your heart about what Bitcoin can do for them, and you walk alongside them in this journey, you have a really good chance of getting them to become Bitcoiners themselves. Sound money, which is what Bitcoin is, the soundest, we can talk about those definitions later. It's honest money. It doesn't care what color your skin is. It doesn't care what country you're from. It doesn't care whether you read the Torah or the Bible or whether you worship Allah. It does not care. It doesn't care. It can't care. It is sound. It is fully money in a lot of definitions, all the definitions actually. But it requires humility because it takes humility to admit that you don't really understand money. And it's a lifelong study. That's why we say remain a seeker. A seeker is someone who seeks after something, obviously, seeking after living a good life that Christ would be proud of. That's my number one goal. And number two, a seeker to understand money, to stay humble, to stack sats, and to do something for the future generations of my family. So next episode, I'm going to talk about the technology behind Bitcoin at a high level, how it actually works, what's under the hood, and why you should trust it. I'll remind you here to subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube, you can find us at Hodl Boomer. Hodlandtees.org is our website. Welcome 10 again, the final mention. I'll sign off this way. Stack sats. Wear the message. Be patient with people who you're trying to teach about Bitcoin and keep seeking. We love you.